He did it one time. Oh man.
And no,
Yeah.
what he mess around and find out, huh?
He was about to find out, and he was sliding on his backside like, man, please don't break my jaw apart.
Boots. Griner didn't have anything to do with her success. Is that what you're trying to
Oh,
claim
come on now,
in
Boots.
Baylor?
Britt was a huge part of what she was doing down there.
Come on, she was there 4 years, dog. The reason they went to the White House. Come on now. So yeah, we got the tournament coming up. They're playing some conference championships these games. So I'm gonna try to tune into some conference championships. I watched a little bit earlier today. I'm gonna try to tune into some conference championships. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's up next week of how this weekend goes because conference. Well, I actually be in New Orleans, going to go watch a clip show in New Orleans and see what's happening. See if I can see.
Tyler got you some front row ticks.
I gotta go. Well, I gotta go see. I gotta go get an update and see what's going on.
You about to go, get some.
Yeah, she helped. Right? Yeah, she helped jambalaya. No, beignets.
Beignets
Beignets overrated. Beignets is overrated. I don't know if I mentioned that.
And Cafe Dumont. Thank you.
Beignets.
Dumont, try to get some beignets with T-Lou.
Oh my!
Powdered sugar on it.
You had some, right? You had some of those, right?
I like them. You don't like them.
They're overrated.
Nah, you get fresh and hot, man. They're not overrated, man.
It was overrated. I'm thinking it's some delicacy.
You didn't get it. It's
I got it fresh from Cafe Dumont.
It's like getting the Krispy Kreme,
No, absolutely not. No comparison to Krispy Kreme. I got no comparison. Krispy Kreme, you driving down the street, you see Krispy Kreme, you see that light on, you guys better stop.
Cafe Dumont.
That's not Cafe Dumont. You better cut it out.
Oh boy.
With Cafe Dumont is probably 100 years ago. I went to went there. We went to the Cafe Dumont outside the outdoor thing. I mean, I'm thinking this is some kind of restaurant. This is an outdoor little coffee shop. All right. I'm wondering what is all this powder on the table for? I wonder. I've never been there before. What is all this powder on the table? It's a damn powdered sugar that they pour out. Man, overrated. Man, overrated. It was overrated.
Amazing.
So no, I'm looking forward to a good.
But that's what your Sunday is going to consist of.
Well, they play Friday night, so I'm heading down Friday night.
Oh, so you're gonna have the whole experience then.
I'm sorry.
So you're gonna have the whole experience of the whole weekend then. Hurricanes and whatnot, and
Well, I went to Pat O'Brien's. Pat O'Brien's. I don't know if you know, but that Hurricanes travel, man. I was getting hurricanes up when I was in Seattle. So yeah, it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to a chill weekend down in Nolens, as they call it down there. But yeah, I got to check out and see see how these guys rebound. They have a game tonight or tomorrow night, so it's going to be the second night of a back to back. But I got to see the Pelicans. They're competing with the Pelicans. The Pelicans is a game behind, if I'm not mistaken. So this should be a serious matchup. Like one that they should be playing. You know what I mean? Because it's let me see. Let me make sure. Let me make sure the standings. I think the Pelicans is right behind them in the rankings. So yeah, New Orleans is 5, Clippers is 4. They're 3 games. New Orleans is 3 games away. Well, Clippers have a 2.5 game lead over them for that 4th seed. So yeah, this is a playoff environment. It should be
meaningful. Okay.
Meaningful. Yeah, this is a meaningful game. Gotta go check it out. Cleveland, did you do your homework?
I did.
Anthony Joshua versus Vitaly Klitschko. I thought it was like 2013 or 14. It was 2017. Was I hyping it up too much? Was it a good fight? Tell us your thoughts.
It was both, Cam. You were hyping up a little bit too much. But it was a good fight.
It can't be both. How can I be hyping it too much, but it be both?
Because you said it was one of the 5 greatest fights you've ever seen in your life. You haven't seen too many.
Yep,
too
yep,
many heavyweight fights that
yep.
went like that one.
How
So
many heavyweight fights where one
yeah.
guy where each guy had a knockdown, and each guy had the other guy legitimately in trouble. There was 2 knockdowns, and Anthony Joshua came back and won that fight and beat him into. I thought it was I actually rewatched it. I thought it was going to the judges, but Anthony Joshua finished him off. I will say, Vitaly was 41 versus, what was Joshua was. It was probably a 20-year difference right there. So um, Joshua had to be 21, 22 because he's only what 26 now, 27. So,
Fans, it is legitimate B. It is a legitimate good fight. One of the top 5 fights you've ever seen. If you're a boxing fan, it will not be that. But heavyweights going at it, knockdown, and then knockdown from the opponent, and then a knockdown, and then a knockout. So it's impressive, and it was a lot of intestinal fortitude being shown by Joshua, and Klitschko, heart of a champion. So it is a good fight. It's well worth your watching. It will not, if you're a boxing fan, it will not be one of the 5 greatest fights you've ever seen, but it is a good fight.
so watching that, I'm glad you watched the fan. I'm glad. Give Cleveland a round of applause for doing his homework. I'm glad you watched the fight. Now that you watched the fight,
Mhm.
and now that you've seen what Joshua's capable of, have you been disappointed in what Joshua's been in his career?
Well, you got to be disappointed. I mean, if you see what his full potential is and what his ceiling, could be, yeah. Every time he doesn't come out and dominate, you're like, okay, well, why aren't you dominating? Or you have losses to inferior opponents. I mean,
So
yeah,
you
you have to
you laughed
question.
at me when I talk about him losing to Andy Ruiz. Did you saw
Yeah, I
you
mean that's clear.
you
That's
saw
clearly
how
something
that's
that should never ever happen. Given your skill set and what you're capable of, yeah, you just can't lose to guys like that because it sets you back years and years, right? Because now you have
yeah.
to go through you have to fight this guy to prove it, and then okay, so you beat that guy, but the guy that you're supposed to fight next, he loses to that guy, so you got to wait that circle, yeah, that cycle out. It's yeah, man. You
So
need to get
Francis,
here when it's time to get here. You know what I'm saying? And losses like that are, inexcusable. To be perfectly honest with you.
so do you give him any credit for going in there and dispatching of Francis Ngannou in 2 rounds like he did? Oh, on what was it, Friday night? It was Friday night, I think.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. You don't get any credit for beating up UFC fighters. They don't know how to fight.
I mean,
You already go into it knowing they don't know how to box. So I mean, when he went in against Tyson Fury and was able to kind of get some hands, that's okay. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah. Well, Fury
But
did.
it's not
Fury,
like Fury is going to move around and have, make things different. It's just a big dude in the middle of the ring.
yeah, Fury was overlooking him. Joshua went in there. I just said Joshua. That's why I tweeted out. Joshua did exactly what he's supposed to do.
Hmm.
Like get rid of him in 2 rounds. Did he look impressive? Did he look like he was a killer? I mean, he did what he's supposed to do. Get rid of the guy in 2 rounds. That's it. So kudos to him for doing what he needed to do on Friday night. I'm super happy that you got a chance to watch the fight though.
I
Um,
did, and again, it was a good fight.
I mean, I don't like how you try to say I had too much on it because it's what I told you it was. You want to see a
No,
guy.
it's not one of the 5 greatest fights I've ever seen. That it's not.
You're gonna have to tell me 5 better fights. You're gonna have to tell me 5 better fights. What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's up? What's happening?
Shout
Are
out to the guys
you
from
being,
HMB
you being
Media.
serious or like?
I mean, can you? I mean, who you gonna give me? Paul Williams? Who you gonna give me? Who you gonna give me as the greatest fights? Greatest? Who you gonna give me?
I mean, how far back are we going with this?
Just go wherever you want to go with this. I told you it wasn't Hearns and Hackler. I told you that. I told you it wasn't. I said I thought it wasn't one of the greatest fights ever, but it had to be in that 5 or 6 category.
Okay,
Okay.
well, for example, just for fight fans, just throw this one out there. I didn't think it was as good as Mayweather Ricky Hatton. I didn't think it was that good.
All right, we're gonna move on because you're gonna bring up Mayweather. Ricky had that went the distance, didn't it? Or did he knock him out?
No,
Did he
he
knock
knocked
him
him
out
out.
in the ninth round?
You had to stop it.
Uh,
Yeah.
we're gonna move on, Cleveland. It's we have Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu on the same card. Rolly Romero, Pitbull Cruz. They actually have a press conference tomorrow, guys. So check out on Twitter. I have some feedback from the press conference.
Quick
Rolly,
question on that Thurman fight. Does he still bring his wife into the dressing room, kissing on her before the fight?
I mean, he ain't fought in 2 years, so I don't know. Are they even on the on?
Oh no, I'm just asking.
No, I don't know. This is gonna be an interesting fight because Tim Tszyu's coming to knock his block off.
Okay.
Keith Thurman hasn't fought in 2 years. He says ring rust won't be a problem. I asked him specifically, like, how do you combat ring rust? He's like, oh well, um, because you guys haven't seen me in the ring doesn't mean I'm not working. You know, I got prepared for fights that just haven't happened, so I've been preparing and been training. Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, Keith, that isn't the same as getting in the ring and actually fighting. So we're just going to be interested to see um, what kind of shape he's in, how prepared he is for this fight. But Tim Tszyu is coming the first time fighting in America. He's coming to knock his block off, make a name for himself. So I'll give you my predictions when we get closer to the fight. But
Yeah.
we also have Rolly Romero and Pitbull Cruz. Both of these guys got beat up by Tank Davis. Pitbull twice actually.
So not much of a fight then, is what you're saying. Okay.
Well, no, because they lose to Tank Davis. I mean, that's not. What does that mean? That doesn't. You don't because you lose to one of the best fighters of the time of the generation. That doesn't make you not a good fighter. However, so this is they're fighting for their chance to kind of get back. You know, as you mentioned, when you in the boxing world, you lose a fight, you have to kind of take some fights to rebuild your credibility, right? So both of these guys are kind of rebuilding in a position to rebuild their credibility. Rolly loses fight, his close to over. Pitbull, because he offers a little bit more, he's been more competitive in his fights. I think he has a chance, and he's a entertaining fighter, meaning he swings for the fences. He's going for the knockout. That type of fighter will last a little bit longer because not only he's going to come at you, he's going to make it a fight. Rolly's going to try to be more strategic with this game plan, so he can possibly get caught because Pitbull is going to keep throwing him. If Rolly gets caught and doesn't win this fight, his career might be derailing quickly.
Yeah.
So this is going to be March 30th. We still have Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia slated for April 20th in Brooklyn. So we still have that fight on. And it just announced that this week that Canelo Alvarez is going to be fighting Munguia on May 4th. That's his typical May Mexican Independence Day that they fight that weekend. So that's still happening. Let me give you some.
And you've heard of this other dude that you just named, right?
Oh,
Because
who?
no one else watching the show has ever heard of that person.
Munguia? Munguia, yes, Munguia is a well-known
Why don't you
fighter.
tell us a little bit about him, Cam? Because no one else has ever heard of that person before.
Many people have heard of Munguia.
No,
Munguia.
that's not true. That's not true.
Let me see. He's another Mexican fighter. He's a banger. That Canelo's going to be going up with. Jaime Munguia. You've heard of Jaime Munguia. Again, he's a banger. He throws He comes in there. He's bigger than Pitbull Cruz, who's gonna try to bring the fight to you. However, he's gonna walk right into Canelo Alvarez's. He's kind of tailor made for Canelo Alvarez. He wants to come at you, and Canelo's gonna be able to pot shot him and pot shot him most of the fight. So that's the difference. But Jaime Mejia is a former world champion. Um, that that Canelo's belt is going to be on the line, so it's going to be a great fight. It's
So handpicked.
it's not going to be a great fight, but
so handpicked, like
pretty much
Mickey and Rocky 3 said, handpicked.
pretty much handpicked. However, it'll be a good fight. He's going to bring the fight. He's going to bring a fight to Canelo, but he's going to keep coming at Canelo, regardless of however Canelo hits him. He's going to keep coming at him. Canelo's last fight with or was it his last fight? John Ritter, who didn't really want to engage with Canelo, made Canelo chase him. Is not going to be that type of fight. It's going to be a fight where the guy is going to keep coming at Canelo. Canelo's going to have to watch out for some blows, but he's going to be able to counterpunch.
So Cam, as a so-called fight fan that you claim to be, do you take exception to the fact that Canelo did not want to avenge his loss right away?
With
his last loss?
Dimitri Bivol?
Yeah.
Okay. Canelo went up 2 rounds, or 2 weight divisions to fight Dimitri Bivol. And what fighters are saying is that he was daring to be great. Okay, fair enough, sure, but he got his ass whooped. And it was the type of fight. It was okay, like stay in your lane. It was that type of fight where stay in your lane, know your audience, and don't step out of the line, because he was outmatched. He was fighting a bigger fighter. He was fighting a fighter that was just bigger and more powerful than him. And so, I am more salty with Canelo like not fighting David Benavidez. Like, that's the guy he should be fighting, but he's trying to fight everybody but him. He fought the Charlo. Rumors were he's going to fight the older Charlo brother this weekend, or with this fight here.
The one that's actually in his weight class division.
Yeah, but he's not fighting him. He's fighting Jaime Mejia. The argument he should be. I'm more salty with Canelo not fighting David Benavidez than going back and fighting Dimitri Bivol. I understand why he's not fighting Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol is bigger, stronger. He's a better boxer. Clearly, he dominated Canelo. So I don't think that would be any different if they fought again. But David Benavidez is kind of who we should see Canelo fighting, and he refusing to fight that fight. Now, a lot of people.
So does Canelo have a signature victory?
What do you mean? Does Canelo have a? Yeah, he bought Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, bought him. Yeah, Canelo's. And so this is what you cut me off before I can get to it. Canelo is widely recognized as 1, 2, 3, at least the top 3 fighter in the world. Like, except he's at the position now that Floyd Mayweather was, that he can pick his opponents. He can pick who he wants to fight, and you really can't say anything about it because he's fought he's taken on many challenges. Right now, today, we want to see him fight David Benavidez, but he fought Triple G. And when Triple G was at his prime,
he didn't win all those. Now, did he lose to Triple G once?
No, he didn't lose to him. I mean, it was close. It was the argument.
Oh, yeah, pencil whipped. Okay.
There was everybody.
There might have been
some favoritism. There might have been some favoritism in Las Vegas, but he fought and dominated his fight. He's Canelo again. Canelo is a top 3 fighter in the world. By
Canelo's a
any means.
name. Canelo's a name. It's a name.
Again, Canelo's a top 3 fighter
Brings
in the
he
world.
brings he
Like
brings
anybody
he
who
brings
anybody who knows anybody who knows boxing. Who you got here? Taylor Chavez.
say that. Say
Fighter.
that, Boots. And he brought in the Hawk against Alexis Arguello. You know nothing about that, do you, Cam? Huh? Give me the bottle, the one I mixed. You know nothing about that, do you? You taking it back?
He went back.
Yeah,
He went back on that one. He went back. Boots went back on that one, buddy.
Boots went back to the bottle, the one I mixed. Ooh,
No argument. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with you,
all them
Boots.
is great.
But you didn't see. You didn't watch Klitschko versus Joshua, Boots. I don't know what to think about that one. I know you gave me the excuse. Oh, I stopped watching it. Stopped watching boxing last week. Took some time off. Okay, that's fair enough. We gave you a homework assignment, and you didn't. Did you complete the homework assignment, Boots? That was part of the homework this week. Did you do the homework, Boots? Do the homework and let's talk. Let's talk.
Because right
It
now.
was good, not
That's
great.
exactly what I said.
Good, not great, huh? Okay.
Boots. This is exactly what I said. I gave him a B. It's a B.
Oh my.
It's a B.
Oh my.
It's
goodness.
good, not great.
What was it? Tell me what that. It was good. What was it lacking?
It had its ebbs and flows, right? I mean, like the one round where they both got knocked down. Okay, that's cool. But then it was like 5 rounds that kind of like, it's cool. And then was it 10th or 11th? Joshua knocked him down and then knocked him out. It just wasn't a lot of back and forth. And again, they both kind of seemed to kind of like take their time. Like it wasn't like just continual, just this frenetic pace of a fight.
Okay, so you need more of a pace, huh?
Well, I mean, we're talking about like, top 5 greatest fights you've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, I personally think that De La Hoya
Trinidad.
Shane Mosley part 1 was a better fight.
Neither one of those fighters has star power. Vitaly Klitschko was the champion for 10 years. He was a 10-year heavyweight champion.
Yeah, but he was 41 when he was fighting.
He was a 10. He was been a champion for the last 10 years. Like I'm not sure what more you want.
It's kind of like watching a 50-year-old Drago. It's like it's all right.
Oh my goodness gracious! He was the champion for 10 years. Like nobody could defeat him.
But that was still 10 years ago. Like
again,
it was a good fight. He was 41. It was a good fight.
He was 41. That took some weight. That took some steam out. When I was sat down and watched it, I was like, oh, he was 41. Okay, so that took a little bit out of it.
Just like when Mike gets in there and has to fold up the walker because he's 57.
Hold on, let's look at this. Go. I did totally disagree. Totally disagree. Totally disagree. He was the heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, that's different than being an NBA champion, an NBA MVP.
That's different.
Heavyweight champion of the world.
And it was him and his brother, and it's like all comers.
I mean,
Vladimir got one side, Vitaly got the other side. All comers. That's real. I was surprised that Lennox was never enticed to fight those dudes, though.
That was kind of why he would have had to come back. Lennox was gone. Lennox was done.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking like
Lennox would have had to come back.
Like money to come back.
I'm sorry.
I said we're talking about like Count of Monte Cristo type money to come back and fight one of those dudes, man.
Yeah, but he was already retired.
But so what?
He was already retired.
Every fighter is always already retired.
That's one thing Lennox said. Lennox said he wasn't coming back to fight. Had what's your name dominated like that, I think he probably would have came back to fight Joshua if Joshua had dominated like that. But I don't know what you're talking about. the heavyweight champion of the world. Like if you're into boxing at all, you know the heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, of the world, Vitaly Klitschko. Like that is a thing. Cleavon, to your point, uh, Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, he beat Caleb Plant. Okay, I'm gonna just name some. Sergey Kovalev. Okay, Sergey Kovalev was in a fight with your boy uh Andre Ward, who he lost to that fight too. Um, I'm just naming names that you might know. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So what? Amir Khan, you heard of Amir Khan? He beat Miguel Cotto. Like James Kirkland. Remember James the Crusher Kirkland was trained by the woman. Like he ended his career essentially. Do you remember that? He essentially ended James Kirkland's career. You don't remember James Kirkland? I guess no. Who he was trained by the woman? Who was the woman? No, I'm not. That's your point. No one cares. No one cares about him. Who was the woman who trained James Kirkland boots? Do you remember that? James Kirkland was trained by the woman who like you really wouldn't want to fuck with this woman. I can't remember her name, but that was her prodigy until Canelo just ended his career essentially. Um, yeah, Austin Trout, you're not gonna know. Josecito Lopez. Canelo defeated Shane Mosley. He gets no credit. He gets no credit though for me. And then then it's some guys you wouldn't recognize.
Okay.
But Miguel Cotto, Miguel Cotto, you recognize Miguel Cotto, don't you? James Kirkland,
Yeah, I
Amir
have to go
Khan.
so far back into the mental Rolodex. And even when I pull Miguel Cotto out, it's like, yeah, it's a name I remember, but nothing with
I mean,
like
Sergey Kovalev at the time was thought to be some actual competition for him. He washed him. Gennady Golovkin 3 times he washed him. Those are kind of the fights that were there was some
so
competition.
Triple G is really the only person that you can really name that anyone else has ever heard of.
No, Cleveland that you've heard of. Again, in boxing, Daniel Jacobs in the boxing world is people know who Daniel Jacobs is. Okay, people know in the boxing world, people knew who Amir Khan was. People know who Caleb Smith was. You don't know Caleb Smith, Billy Joe Saunders. Caleb Plant was a good fighter until he got into the ring with Canelo. Like,
Amir Khan, man.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what you're trying to throw at me?
Yeah.
See how you try. You see how you try and like do your little thing where you just you
I'm
try
just
and
telling
like
you.
confuse me with the names, but like no, the names are confusing because you want to know why? Because they just don't ring a bell.
Again,
They're
you're
not
not
big
following
names,
boxing.
bro.
You're not following
It
boxing.
doesn't have to. It doesn't have
You're
to be
not,
because I'm not following boxing. I do follow boxing. Those just aren't.
no, you don't. Clearly, you do not. Clearly, you do not. If you talking about Miguel Cotto, you have to dig so far back. Clearly, you don't follow boxing. Meanwhile, the Sacramento Kings are up 107-94 with under 6 minutes to go. Looks like Sabonis is going to have his 10th game over the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, no, no. Again, some people do, some people don't. But I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I'm gonna tell you this, Boots. The first boxing match I covered, I was been a boxing fan. I mean, obviously, I go back to the days of Sugar Ray and Hagler Hearns, etc. The first boxing match that I covered was Fury versus Wilder, the first one, Staples Center, LA. What it had to be 2018 or 19. That was the first one. I didn't realize. I knew it was a heavyweight fight. So what you're saying? Heavyweight boxing isn't what it was then, or isn't now what it was then. Okay, you're saying no one cares. I disagree with that. again, bro, I wasn't quite sure. To your point, Boots, I wasn't quite sure how big a fight that Fury Wilder was, the first one. Leading up to the fight, there was a lot of events going around it at Staples Center. Press conference was outside. I'm like, I thought that was kind of weird. There was a lot of the press conference. Fury's a big talker. Wilder at that time is bomb squad, bomb squad. He got he's 1,900 people with his entourage is 19 people deep. But bro, you get into the arena and the
It's
the
electric, man.
the
There's
first
nothing
fight is
like
over.
fight,
The
man.
first fight is over. Now you're leading up, and the ring walk with these heavyweights is coming out, and now you got Michael Buffer on the mic talking about, "Are you ready to rumble, bro?" Your hair stands up. Your hair on your back of your neck stands up. It's wild. Like that, having been to the NBA finals, having been to the NFL game, having been covered an NBA All-Star game, having covered Major League Baseball All-Star game. And I used to love, out of all the All-Star games, I used to love the Major League Baseball, the announcing of the All-Stars. Like I thought that was the most seminal moment of of all the All-Star games, because back in the day, obviously it was, now they have the interleague games. Back in the day, like the American League didn't see the National League, right? And National League didn't see American League. That was the only time you saw these guys compete. So it was more important back in the day. However, it's still a quality moment in sports. But when they announced the ring walk of these heavyweights coming out of the ring, bro, man, it's nothing like it, man. No, you're not even heavyweights, just a big time fight. Just a big time fight. There's
No,
nothing like it, man.
there's nothing like
There's
fighting
nothing like it. And that
the
one went
electricity and the energy in the room. But Miguel Cotto and Canelo is not the same as like, you
again.
know,
Miguel Cotto's a warrior, bro. Miguel
Tiger
Cotto,
Burns, man.
Miguel. What ended Miguel's Cotto?
They're just knockoffs, man. They're just
What
knockoffs.
ended? So again, Cleveland, you're not being fair. What ended Miguel Cotto's career is when I can picture the dude's face. I can't shit, I can't picture the dude's I don't remember his name. I can picture face. When the dude wore the cast, he had the plaster in his glove, and he beat Miguel Cotto was one of those fighters who just doesn't quit. He's gonna keep coming at you, and he doesn't quit. But damn it, uh Adrian Margarito.
Yeah,
When he had the cast, he cheated,
sir.
and he beat Miguel Cotto to a pulp. And that just doesn't happen with Miguel Cotto, because he was tough like that. And he doesn't stop. Miguel doesn't stop, but he had to take a knee in that fight. That kind of that him taking that kind of beating kind of ended Miguel Cotto's career. It took a lot of steam out of his career. He ended up fighting Canelo after that, but he wasn't the Miguel Cotto. Again, probably if Canelo saw him 3 or 4 fights prior, and we might have a different story. But Margarito, when he kind of had the plaster in his glove, and he was fine for cheating. That was
So here's what me and Boots are saying here. Okay. We're gonna watch Canelo fight 5 more fights. It will never be against Benavidez, and it will be a bunch of hand-picked people.
Yeah. Again, now
winning, up through 2027, and you'll keep telling me what a great fighter Canelo is, and be like, but who's he actually beating?
I just named you some fighters that he's beat.
But that was long time ago, man.
What do you mean? You can say the same for Mayweather.
It was still somewhat.
Canelo is at a point of his career where he can legitimately pick his fights. He can legitimately pick who he wants to fight.
He handpicks him so that he's sure that
we want to see him fight Benavidez. Yes, we want to see him fight Benavidez. But Canelo's at a point in his career similar to where Mayweather was, where he can pick his fighters. Mayweather picked Canelo when he was 23, 22 years old. Canelo wasn't ready for that primetime moment, but that Mayweather said, "Let me get him now before he gets ready for that moment," and he washed him. Same point Mayweather was in his career where he's washing cats. But who did Mayweather fight in his last 10 fights that was had a potential of beating him? He didn't fight anybody who had a potential of beating him. He was picking his fight. He was
There
handpicking
was
his
plenty
fights.
of fighters that had a potential of beating him. They just
Who
couldn't beat him.
no. It's exactly what I'm telling you. He was handpicking his fights. What do you mean? You're shaking your head. No, he's doing Canelo's following that same blueprint. He following the same exact blueprint.
Because there wasn't anyone out there that Mayweather. There wasn't anyone out there that Mayweather didn't want to fight.
Cleveland.
There wasn't any fighter that Mayweather didn't want to fight.
Cleveland, you're not listening to your own self. I'm telling you, he following the same blueprint, except Canelo actually took the challenge to go fight Dimitri Bivol. He got his ass whooped because he can't fight, he can't contend with them, but he took that challenge on. Mayweather wasn't taking that challenge on. He wasn't fighting anybody that he knew he couldn't beat. But you want to say Canelo's not fighting anybody. The same as Mayweather handpicked the last fights of his career, Canelo's doing the same exact thing again. But he fought anybody who was in contention, he fought him prior to. Anybody who was in contention. He won't fight David Benavidez. Now, I have a problem with that. I do have a problem with that. He's avoiding Benavidez. Yes, he is. I can't argue that. He's been avoiding him for the last 3 or 4 years. Absolutely. You're right. But that's the only like smudge he has on his career. That's the only smudge he has on his career. Canelo's been the man for all this time. But yeah, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options that right now. In MMA, I mean, there's just so many MMA fighters. I can't.
Yeah, and they fight for the title all the time. It's like
I just can't keep up. There's so many of them. Like every week, there's a super MMA fight. Every week, there's a new champion. Like I just can't keep up with the NBA. I appreciate
the action packed though. It's action packed.
Yeah, I appreciate the competition. All of those guys, you don't want to mess with any of them. In not one of those MMA guys do you want to mess with. Not one of them. Anybody who trains MMA, you got to give them credit. But there's just so many of them. I just can't keep up. I can't keep up. So yeah, Wilder Fury has some juice. I mean, what it used to be now, Boots? Come on now. You can't make that argument. It ain't.
That's what we say. We're trying to find something that kind of recreates that same type of,
That was the closest. I can't think of a recent fight that Wilder Fury 2 or 3 created that same steam. The fight the fight didn't live up to the hype, but there hasn't been much. I mean, again, come on, guys, life is changing. I mean, what are we finding? What do we find that competes with the bad boys?
Well, I mean, for example, I think the closest that had the anticipation was Spence Crawford, but it was 3 years late. And it was very lopsided because there wasn't really a very good.
I don't know if that time, if the time had something to do with the way the outcome of the fight though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the time.
And then when it came time for Spence to do it again, it's like, nah, my eye hurts. We have to do this next year.
No, that wasn't the issue. I mean, there's a lot of
political. That's what you're saying, yeah.
Did you want to see that fight again?
Yeah.
No, Cleveland, you did. No, there wasn't. Where you say there's not a lot of boxing fans out here, not many boxing fans wanted to see a rematch of that one. It wasn't close. That fight wasn't. It didn't go to the decision. It was such a wash. It was such a domination from round 2 to the 9th round when it ended that it really didn't warrant a rematch. There's some fights that just didn't warrant a rematch. So that held it up. Then it was who's going to pay for the fight. Then it was okay, he had the eye issue. Now Crawford, we haven't seen Crawford. Have we seen? We haven't seen Crawford back in the ring, have we?
So it's that fight.
Yeah. So I mean, again, nobody. Crawford and Canelo could fight, but then that means Crawford has to go up. Crawford has to move up. Canelo don't want Crawford right now. Canelo don't want. He don't want none of that.
Again, with what Canelo doesn't want.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know when you say nobody wants boxing.
No, we want boxing. It's just we don't want the boxing that we're getting. We don't want the boxing that we're getting. You got me. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're getting like, Canelo can only fight certain fighters because he's trying to follow the Mayweather blueprint. So he's not going to fight this guy, and he's not going to fight this guy. And this
we want to see Tank. I think Tank versus Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. I prefer to see Devin versus Shakur, Tank versus Shakur. I don't think. Not sure. Tank's problem is that number one, he's been inactive. If you want to consider Tank the best fighter out there,
then you keep talking about this inactivity with everybody. Why is everybody inactive all the time? Because all the fights have to be handpicked. They have to be sanctioned by like 5 different people. It has to be the same camp. I mean, it's just all of these other things that go into it.
Mongolian. That plays into it.
1 versus 2. You know what I'm saying? It's never.
And that's so okay. So do you want to see a Dana White come and take over boxing to where now you're getting 1 versus 2 every other week, or the weight classes? I would like to see structure to boxing. That would be nice to see some structure to boxing. However, that means the boxers are going to have to.
From a fight fan's perspective, I get tired of hearing, "Oh, that's an Aaron boxer. Oh, that's a Mayweather boxer. Or that's a Aaron boxer." It's like, so what? They can't fight because of that. They can't get in the ring because they don't. Promoters don't like each other.
Obviously, it's not like the NBA or the NFL where they're on schedule to fight each other. But now because
the collision course to fight each other, that like when they get to a certain point, they have to go against one another, right?
Because Bob Arum does his promotion for his fight, Eddie Hearn does his promotion for the fight with the Zone. Your boy Golden Boy does his fight promotions with Golden Boy, obviously, and then PBC does Heyman. Like they all are vying for that A-B slot. So it's either who gets the A side, who's the A side, who's the B side. Nobody wants to be the B side. So, and that's how the Spence Crawford that's how the Spence Crawford first fight happened, where Spence and Crawford got on the phone and said, "Okay, let's make this happen. It's been too long. Now let's make this happen." So the A and B side, then because they both wanted to fight, it wasn't a factor in it. But that's why with Shakur, we don't see Shakur fighting that often. That's because why we haven't seen Shakur fight Tank Davis is because Shakur was with Top Rank with Bob Arum, and are they gonna capitulate to what PBC how they want to fight, the rules that they want to fight by?
Okay, so basically the promoters dictate when the fighters are fighting each other.
A lot less, Boots. I mean,
there's not enough fighters, Boots. It's not that it's not entertaining, it's just there's not enough of them that are good enough, to be perfectly honest, from my perspective.
What you talking about? Women's boxing?
Yeah.
Like there's Clarissa Shields, Alicia Baumgartner. Like that's a fight they're on a collision course. Like they're gonna fight within the next year or two. Probably
I think from a women's perspective, probably the UFC stuff was a little bit more entertaining than the women's boxing. But you hear what you're saying though, right? There's these 4 promoters that have their own interests at heart.
Yeah, certainly.
And what the fighters are wanting to do and what the fans want to see is not really that much of a focal point in their decision making. It is really more about like how long they can prolong this to create this anticipation motivation
if you
to
think about
fight,
it, they're not
you
fighting.
have
They're not fighting. Yes, they're not fighting to entertain the fans. They're fighting for their boxers to make as
yeah,
much
but
money as
no,
they can.
but no, you're missing the point. Is that
I
they
hear what
won't let
you're
the
saying.
fighters fight because of their own personal vested interests, not because of what the fighters want to do, and not because of what the fans want to see, because of what their own monetary gain can be from the
Cleveland,
fight.
Cleveland, Cleveland. If
And
you're
other
in,
sports can't do that. Once you
what?
get to
That's
a
not
certain
right.
point,
Cleveland,
they have to compete.
Cleveland. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, would you rather play Jacksonville Jaguars
Yeah,
and the
but
Kansas in the
that's
Indianapolis Colts, or
the whole
would you
point.
rather play Baltimore Ravens? Would you rather play the Baltimore Ravens every week? You
So
were going to take the easiest
if
schedule
the
from last
NFL
season.
owners had their way, yeah, no one would ever play the Chiefs.
Again, obviously it's a different sport, Cleveland, but that's when you say in different sports, you can't compare to different sports because they're different sports. In boxing, you want your fighter to win as long as he can, to be on top of as long as he can. So obviously, you're going to do things so your boxer can stay the championship, stay
Man,
champion as long as.
did you just hear yourself right there?
I did. You're
You
not.
want to not
I don't
fight
know. What are
somebody
you?
good for as long as you can, to look as good as you can for as long as you can.
When has this not been the case, Cleveland? When has this not been the case?
Not been the case several
What
times
Sugar
in
Ray
boxing
fought Donnie
history.
Lalonde? And Sugar Ray fought Donnie Lalonde, and everybody, his promoters were telling him, "Don't fight this dude."
Nope.
What do you mean? They told him, "Don't fight the dude." Sugar
Right.
Ray, you shouldn't fight this dude. Sugar Ray
Back,
said, "No, I want to go fight him." That was a different.
I'm not going to take it way back in the day, Cam. I'm simply saying this, man. When what the promoters want to happen dictates what happens, and how much money that they can make from a fight, it dictates what kind of fights you see. And that's why we haven't seen really good fights lately.
And I don't know why you're surprised by this. I don't know.
I'm not. Boxing has been corrupt for a long, long time. It's
Yeah.
just been
So
before it's been like, okay, eventually we're going to get to a fight that the fans want to see, but that's just not the way it works anymore.
what was the last great boxing fight?
I said Spence Crawford, and you shot me down.
It wasn't. It didn't live up. That was the last great hyped fight.
Okay,
That's what everybody was
well, then
anticipating.
what was the last big fight?
That's the fight that we were looking for. Yes, absolutely. That's the fight everybody was anticipating for 4 years, and it didn't happen to be. Once the night was over,
And before that, it was Pacquiao Mayweather.
What was Pacquiao? 2015. I thought what you call it was better than Pacquiao Mayweather. That just went the distance. Pacquiao Mayweather. That was in fact, that didn't even live up to the hype. Now that I remember it, that Pacquiao Mayweather didn't live up to the hype.
Between Pacquiao Mayweather and Spence Crawford, what fight was eagerly anticipated?
Klitschko versus what you call it? Klitschko versus your boy Joshua.
No, it was not.
Because they were fighting in England. Because they were fighting in England, they weren't American boxers.
And Joshua was not a big name at the time. He was not. He wasn't.
Did you ask me what was the last big name fight, or was the best fight? Because he has a name.
The last big name fight.
Oh my goodness!
That everybody wanted to see. Joshua and Klitschko what exceeded expectations.
Fury Wilder. I mean, again, Fury
Yeah,
Wilder. I wasn't sure, Boots. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't sure the magnitude of that fight. Everything leading up to the fight. Oh, Crawford Porter was a great fight. Come to think about it, now Crawford Porter. Spence Porter. You guys forgot about that fight, but you guys don't want to. Now the two black fighters, are you guys gonna say that was a crap fight? Earl Spence and Sean Porter.
Those were good fights.
Those
but
are
not eagerly anticipated.
Again, not by you guys, not by you two numbskulls. Okay, so now Not by you two numbskulls.
Yeah, I'm not a cut man. I don't tape up, gloves, man. I'm not that into it, man. I'm not that.
Well, say that. Say I'm a casual boxing fan. Just say, finally admit you're a casual boxing fan.
No.
Finally admit it.
No.
Finally admit you're a
because I'm not a casual
boxing fan.
boxing fan, but I'm not such a boxing fan that I know what type of tape the trainers are using. I'm not that into it.
Boots, if you say Ward Golovkin, Ward Golov was a good fight, why wouldn't you say what's your reasoning for Canelo versus Golovkin not being a good fight?
Because Kovalev and Ward was, I don't know, man.
What's your reason for Kovalev and Canelo not being a good fight? If you like Ward Kovalev, what's your reasoning for Canelo and Kovalev not being a good fight?
Because it was way later.
That wasn't way later. That was a couple years after that one. Kovalev was still alive, obviously. Now you guys are going to tell. Now you guys are going to
alive. Cameron was still
alive. He was still fighting. He was still legit fighting. He's still a legit fighter. So now I think I narrowed it down with Boots' answer right there. I think it's narrowed it down. You guys just want to see black fighters. That's what we're coming down to.
It's not black fighters.
That's what we're coming down to. You guys just want to see black fighters.
And if there's not black fighters fighting, it's not a good fight. Reputation. That's what it is. And there's some anticipation, and there's just not. It does not exist right now.
Excuse me. That's what it is. If it's not black fighters involved, it's not a good fight. That's what your answer. That's what I'm gathering right there. If you want to say Ward Kovalev was a good fight, but you don't want us to give Canelo credit for beating Kovalev, it's because he's not black. It's not Canelo's not black because now you're going to say Joshua's not American. Klitschko's not American, so that can't be a big fight. That's what it's
the Klitschko Joshua thing was.
That's what it comes down to. Because they're not American. There's not American. That Boots, you can't tell me anything else, Boots. Thank you for pointing that out.
You can't name a fight that you want to see, man. For real, man. You cannot name a fight that you want to see. You keep talking about Tank against
What do you mean I can't name a fight? I was mentioning earlier, David Benavidez versus Canelo. We're not going to see it, but that fight should happen. Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis. Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney. We'll see that. That's more likely to happen. But where's Tank been at? Tank is having a problem.
Yeah, those aren't big fights.
All right, fam. We're gonna end the show. We're gonna end the show. We're gonna end the show on that.
Might as well get to the quote.
We're gonna end the show on that comment. Fans, I love you guys. Before we end the show, Cleveland, tell us what's up with the Seattle Mariners. What are they doing? Have they made any move?
Cam, we're still waiting to see if they're going to sign Blake Snell, a local kid. Could certainly use the arm in the rotation. Rotations, it's pretty solid from 1 to 5, but you can always kind of, have to anticipate injuries. So that's kind of where we're looking at that. So far on the, spring training, they've been okay. Not great.
This guy asked, who is Devin Haney? Come on. He's only the second man to win.
Legitimate question.
Or he become undisputed in 2 weight classes.
Because most people don't know who that is.
Again, you can't follow. If you ask that question, you don't follow boxing.
The boxing network or the boxing app on your phone to even know who that is.
Only the second man behind Terrence Crawford to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. Like,